Hello and welcome back to another, I think it's good. Hello and welcome back to another video where we say good things about a game that other people didn't say such good things about. Maybe the reviews were bad, maybe the press was bad. Today's video is all about the game that I would argue inspired this entire series, and that game is Agents of Mayhem.
Should we get going?
It's an open world action game heavily inspired by 80s and 90s cartoons, comic book characters, heroes, anti-heroes, villains, evil organizations trying to take over the world.
These guys are all you!
So this game was published by Deep Silver and made by Volition, known for making the Red Faction series and, a little more importantly for this conversation, the Saints Row series. Before I go any further, I just want you to know that I do know somebody who worked in this game. I did buy my copy outright. Nobody got it for me, so I wasn't given the game. But I do know somebody who worked on Agents of Mayhem, and I thought that was worth noting as we talk about the game. I just needed you to be aware of any bias that you might infer from that fact. So just putting that out there, making sure you know. So with all that out of the way, let's get into what might have gone wrong with Agents of Mayhem. The game got pretty bad reviews out of the gate, middle ground to lower. Personally, I think that's because Agents of Mayhem was going to immediately be compared to Saints Row, also an open world action game. There were a ton of Saints Row games and they all were beloved. They featured things like superheroes, and then there was a hell one. Agents of Mayhem stood no chance of standing on its own since it was created by the people who made such a notorious series. I personally think that's what went wrong. If the game was able to stand on its own without being linked to those series, it might have had a better shot at getting fairly reviewed. So let's talk about what works in Agents of Mayhem, as far as I'm concerned. In the game, you're given a ton of characters to choose from. You can level them up. They all have different skills. So you set your lineup of 3 characters, and then when you go out into the field, you can switch between them at any given moment. Maybe one has more health than the other. Maybe one has an attack you need in that given moment. I thought that was really interesting. There's 14 characters in this game in total. There's 14 choices. You gotta be curious about what the other ones can do. You actually have to unlock them playing their own mission, so you get a chance to play with them in isolation on their own. If I got bored, I just picked a new character that I haven't unlocked yet from my list, and I said, okay, let me get this person. While I was making this video, I unlocked Jewel, and she was cool and different. She has turrets. I didn't know there was a turret character in this game. I just think that the variety is there when it comes to who you can play as and what you can do. If an open world game is set in a city, you're obviously going to be driving around. In this game, I think they nailed it when it comes to what it needed to feel like. You're in a world inspired by 80s and 90s cartoons. The driving does not need to be realistic, but it needs to be fun, and that's exactly what you get when you're playing Agents of Mayhem. The cars each have their own jet booster, so you can boost, because of course you can. And you can unlock new cars. Each of them have their own stats. Which ones might be better in a situation? Maybe you need to barrel through. Maybe you need to speed around. There's races. Yeah, the driving in Agents of Mayhem is awesome. So if you like driving in open world games, another thing I want to point out is the way missions are accessed and activated in Agents of Mayhem. Most open world games task you with finding missions out in the wild, and while that is true for some missions in this game, like the races, most of the important missions are right there in your menus. A lot of times for me, it's hard to get into an open world game because you literally have to figure out where you were when you left off, and this game sort of just lists the missions out for you, like, here they are. What would you like to do? One last thing I really want to point out about this game is just the look and the feel. They nailed it. It's cartoony, it's fun to look at, and the explosions are beautiful, which is a weird thing to even say. Everything's glowing and exploding in this like fireworks style fashion. The animations for each character are very unique. All of the visuals are just, I think, really on point for what they were going for, which is an 80s inspired, 90s inspired, cartoony, fun game. I just think it's really unfortunate that it seemed to be like everyone was comparing it to Saints Row when it came out. I really do appreciate you sticking around this long through my rant about Agents of Mayhem. I will ask you now, if you've played the game, please let me know in the comments. Let's talk about it. I really am interested in seeing what you liked and didn't like about it. As with every video, if you liked this video, please leave a thumbs up on the video. And then I will know that you liked it. And finally, of course, if you are not already subscribed to this YouTube channel, please subscribe. It is the #1 way for me to know that I'm doing a good job. Other than that, I really do appreciate your time today, and thank you for watching. Thank you for letting me talk your ear off about yet another game that I thought deserved a second look. And I will see you in the next video.